Hi there, friends. Welcome to Miller's Laboratory. My name is Sue, and I am so happy that you're here with me today. I want to say thank you to everybody who reached out to me to check on my welfare and make sure I was okay. I apologize for being away for so long, but life has been a challenge for me lately, just in my outside job, and it's been sapping kind of my creativity a little bit. So I apologize, but I'm back, and I have several things in the works. Those of you that might remember, I had a video of some Shakespeare books that I was going to do. Those are still sitting here waiting for me, and I have a couple of other little books in process. So hopefully I've got my mojo back here, and you'll see more of me in the coming days. I also want to say thank you so much to my new friend Amy, who reached out to me. She had seen my flip-flop journal series and was interested and wondered if I would make one for her. I said I would, and I asked her if it was okay if I made a batch of them at the same time, and she said that was fine. So she has already received hers, and these are the remaining 8 that I made at the same time. So I have been busy, not on camera, but I have been busy. So these are all almost the same, just small details are different, and I will point those out. I'm not going to flip through all of them, but I will list them individually just because I used different colors of ribbon to tie them closed so that you can choose if you want to. And obviously that's something that can easily be changed. It's not attached to the book at all. It's just tied on there. So I'm going to set most of these aside. You'll kind of see them as I grab them. And then we'll just flip through one of them, okay? So I just picked ribbon that kind of looked nice with the color you could see on the outside of the book. I'm hoping I don't have an avalanche over there where I'm stacking those up. All right, we'll just leave that one there. So this is what I called an extreme flip-flop journal. I'm going to have to zoom in just a little bit more there. Okay. When I first made these, and that was because I just used a lot of envelopes to construct, and there's a lot of signatures. So there's actually 12 signatures in these, plus there's 3 little mini booklets attached inside, which give you like 3 more. So I think these lend themselves to like a vacation journal where each signature could be a day, or something else where you would want to have a lot of sections or divisions of something. And these are very, you can see, sort of rustic looking, sort of grungy looking. That is on purpose. I used brown packing tape to attach the envelopes together. I like the look of that. I like that grungy look. But if you don't, you can put papers over that to cover it up. And there are a lot of pockets in here because each envelope is going to create a pocket, and there is nothing in those. Those are empty. All of that is for you to finish. So what I have given you here is a nice base and some of my papers. I have an extensive collection of papers, books and papers, and I've given you a really neat collection of papers in the book. So let's go ahead and flip through. I'll untie this ribbon. So I hope everybody out there is doing well. We are having like we have had a little bit of snow lately here in Michigan. We had some spring weather, and now we're getting a little snow again. And this is typical, where we kind of bounce back and forth until spring decides to take root for good. So, all right, so just going to move that a little bit. All right, so we have an envelope here on the front. And by the way, this is what I named as the front, but if you wanted to, you could have put something really pretty on this one, and that could be the front. You can do it however you want. Okay. So I've lined all of these envelopes where you can see the inside with some digital prints of old documents. And then of course you're going to see that tape there too. And in each signature I have included one sort of colored paper, which is a print of a wallpaper image. So I've used all different ones. They're all different in each book, and you're going to get what you get. But I tried to make a nice selection. There are really old antique ones. There are Victorian ones, William Morris. There's some that are more like from like the 30s and 40s with big flowers and stuff. So you're just going to get a nice mix. Just some tea-dyed paper here and a receipt. This is a page from a really old French book. I would guess that's from the early 1800s. I'm not sure, but it's old. The paper is really cool feeling, and you can see how decorated it is around the outside. This is from a lettering book. I think this is like an engineer's type of a instruction book. And then we're just flipping back through. Most of these I put 5 papers in. Some of them have 6, but most have 5. So if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, even though there's 5 pieces of paper in there, you're going to get technically 20 pages when you count both sides. All right, now this is an envelope that has one of these cool little closures, and you're going to find different little circle things to use for the closure in each book. So this particular one, I used a little flower-shaped brad, and I punched out some thick card underneath it, and then this opens up, and of course that's a pocket. And then to close it, you just wrap it around and around like a X shape, I guess. I gave you lots of string here, so you can trim it if you don't want it that long, but then it has room to expand too if you put something kind of fat in there. Now, on this side, there's some little brads that I used, some old ones that I found in my stash. So again, same thing here, it just opens up, and let's see how nimble I can be in closing this up. Go. All right. This is a page from a sewing book, probably from like the 60s or 70s. There's another wallpaper print. Some sort of a German, probably a worship type of a book. And then just some plain vintage notebook paper. This is from an old pad that I found at the thrift store, a wire cutting report. And I just liked that it had the lines on it. It's nice for writing on. Here you have this nice little flap. You can leave that, or you could glue it at the top and bottom and use it like a little tuck spot, or you could glue some more paper on there to make it like a full page that flips out. Tried to make these flexible for you too, so you can really customize them and make them work for you. All right, that's okay. Now we get to this next one, and you can see this is just an envelope with tape. Nothing fancy there. When I was making these, I actually was thinking it would be fun to make even a grungier one with like duct tape or something. I don't know if there's a market for that, but I kind of like that grungy look sometimes. All right, up here, also I've attached just this little mini coin envelope here that opens up, and you can put something in there too. I did punch a little thumb notch there. You could punch that deeper if you need to, so that it's a little easier to get in and out of that. Then on this side, there's a window envelope, and anything that you put down in there, of course, do I have anything here to put down in? Nothing but my ruler. Anything you put down in there is going to show through the window, which is cool. Okay. This was from an old stamp collecting book, just that framed page. And this is from an old vintage ledger. Pretty doily there. It's our wallpaper again, and this is a really old sheet music book page. And this is from an antique, well, pretty, at least vintage, bookkeeping or a business type of a textbook. All right, and then this one opens up for lots of space there. I'm going to stop and say right now so I don't forget. Oh, look at that little punch outs hanging out in there. Okay. Let's say you don't like one of these pages. Let's say, you know, you don't like this music page or whatever. You want to take something out. If you just cut or tear right close to the fold, then you'll leave a little stub there and you can glue your own page on there. You could just carefully tear it and pull it out on both sides, but that's going to loosen up the signature a little bit, just to warn you of that. All right, here's a pocket here, a little harder to get into. Stuff you don't need to look at all the time maybe goes in there. All right, and then here is the first little mini booklet that I added in, and it is held closed with this little photo holder or photo turn that you can just rotate around. And then this is made from a nice little envelope here. You can tuck something in there. And then we have this page that folds right down. This is a digital, this one. I think that's the only digital I used as a page in here other than the wallpapers. And this page here is pretty special. I mean, it doesn't look like a lot, but when you feel the paper, you'll know. This is like from the 1700s, this book. So this is really nice rag paper. I don't know how I got lucky enough to get that, but I did. This is from a book about ceramics, I think. Okay. And then, you know, you just go back through the same stuff. So, all right. So, come on, baby. There we go. All right. So here we have a page from a vintage milkman's ledger. And this page is from an old Bible story book for kids. This one I have a little concern about, and I'll just tell you, this paper is kind of on the brittle side, and so you may find that this cracks where it's folded. If that happens, just add a little bit of tape there, some washi tape or, you know, whatever it is that you want to do. If you want to keep the page in there, you can just add a little tape on each side and it will hold it right in there. No problem. This is from an old book that I found a whole group of about an old lodge, and this is like just some notes that were taken. I think when we get to the other side, we'll be able to see the date. This is from a piece of paper you use to plan out marching band routines. And the same thing here. Yeah, so here's the other half of that paper, and it's 1897. It's old writing there. All right, now this envelope also can be used as a pocket here. We flip this over. I've added just a little one here, and this one I didn't line because it's all book page anyway, but little one to put things in here. And then we have a CD envelope at the bottom, and that one also has that nice window, so whatever you put in there is going to show through. Okay. This is from another stamp collecting book with some images of stamps on it, and this is from an old Latin book that I have. And this is from a modern type of a planner notebook. And here's a page from an art book. And of course, when I have pages like these in here, they're all going to be different, but each book has the same ones, okay? So if it's from a book, it's going to be a little different, but you're going to get a page from the same book. So every one of the journals I showed you are going to look very similar to this inside. Okay, here's our second little mini book. This one I didn't add any type of closure because I didn't think it was necessary. It hangs down, but I glued the tab up at the top there, and your window or your pocket in this one is down at the bottom here. So you tuck it in from the bottom and you have the window there. This is a piece of vintage stationery, just some brown construction paper that's coffee dyed, page from a book about trees, and an old tea dyed ledger page, and then there's our wallpaper. Now in this particular one, and you'll find this in some other ones, some of the pages are real short, and those again are places where you can attach things as you like. Okay, now we're halfway through. All right, so let's take a look at what we have starting on this side. Another envelope here, a nice blank space, like I said, to put something on. And here's our pocket here. I did put my label here. I had to put it somewhere, and there's not really a back cover to this, so I just put it there. If you don't like it, cover it up. Cover it up with something. I don't mind. All right. Wallpaper, something from like Logarithm book. And here we have a nice little stub where you can attach something. This is some handmade paper. This is from an old student's notebook. I think this was some kind of an accounting notebook, because you can see that they actually drew these vertical lines in with a ruler. And then just a little plain page here from a little journal. And same stuff going back through. Here's another envelope with a pocket going in this way. And then on this side, I have a glassine bag. So you can slip something in there and it's all going to show through. Now I said I didn't put anything in the pockets, but this is one exception where I actually just folded this. I didn't even show that when I was going through the other way. Did I do that yet? It's just a page out of a date or an address book that someone would have, and I folded and put it in there because it needed a little stiffening. The glassine is pretty floppy, so I added that in just to stiffen it. But when you put something in there, it's going to have the same effect. So, all right, here's a pretty German page, old, you know, 1800s. And then here we have another wallpaper. This is from an old cross-stitch book pattern that I coffee dyed. Little stub there so you can attach things. A lettering book and some graph paper there. All right. It's the other half of the, that's, you can see where the glassine bag is attached there. And then there's a pocket here. Okay. This is the back of that little envelope we saw on the other side, and this is the back of the CD envelope. All right, dictionary. This is again from that that Lodge collection of books that I bought from a wildflower guide, and this is from another sort of old ledger that I thought was really cool. I have a lot of this stuff, guys, and I'm so happy to share it with you. I really am. All right. You tend to hoard stuff, and you know, at some point you just have to say, you know, why am I doing that? Let's just share it with other people. So, all right. Here is this tall envelope. This one on the other side is where that little mini booklet is, and I didn't even say, but this is a tall, long, skinny envelope that you get into from the top. Can you see that? My hand is right off the screen there, but okay. A typing manual here. This is from an old 1960s antiques magazine. I really love that. I was at an antique store and they had a whole stack of these by the door saying take one. And I did take one, and I wish I had taken more, but it only said take one. So I'll have to go back. All right. It's just some pretty tea-dyed paper that I've punched along the edge. And then you can just see the peak of a bird, a really big bird guide page here. You'll see the other half of it in a minute. This is some packing paper that's coffee dyed. And this was long, so I stitched it in, but I left this little bit here. If you wanted to, you could glue the edges down and make those into pockets, or you can just write on them. You could attach something more to have more flip down, or you could just tear or cut those off, whatever you want to do. Here's the other half of that bird page. All right, and then here's the third little mini book. So this is another little envelope pocket here. This is from a reproduction Sears catalog book, which itself is probably from the 70s. I'm not sure, it's pretty old, but little page from a date book, a vintage one. I believe this one's from the 50s, and I like this one because it has little check marks where you could record what the weather was for that day too. This is from a little Gwen Frostic notebook that I have. You can see her little pretty artwork down there. And then this is from a math book. Okay, her little area to flip out. There's Gwen Frostic's signature there. All right, and then we'll flip this one over. We come back to this little guy. We've seen him before. And this is the back half of that window envelope where you can go in from the top. Just some more, a thicker sort of graph paper here. This is from an Italian vintage or antique, some sort of religious book. I love the color of that. This is just some stationery that I picked up somewhere. And then another little piece of ledger paper here. And back through the same stuff that way. Here's another pocket here. One more signature here. This is from a different date book or appointment book here. Fidelity Insurance, also vintage. This one, there's a little stub here, and then there's also one on the other side, so you have opportunity to add a couple things in this one if you want to. Different dictionary and some vintage notebook paper here. So, what do you think? That's the book. I hope you like it. I will pop in like numbers, like the number of pages, the number of envelopes I used and such, because I really haven't even counted that yet, but I wanted to get this video done before I go to work. So thanks so much for joining me. You will find these books in my Etsy shop, and I love you all and have a wonderful day. Bye.